is a blogger at theycallmeblessed.org. She also has a homeschool group, Blessed Homeschool Moms, on Facebook. You can find her there. Today she's going to talk, she is like the guru of schedules and organization, and she is going to talk to us today a little bit about homeschool schedules that work. So, welcome, Ana. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Stephanie. So good to be here with you.
Yes. Let's start with the first thing. What does your personal homeschool schedule look like?
Oh, wow. I can show you how my schedule looks like, actually. I can share my screen with you and give you a little glimpse of how it looks like. Let me see if I can pull it here quickly. I always have it on my screen just to make it easier, and also because I share this with a lot of moms that ask for help in how to organize their homeschool schedule. So this is what I call my ideal week schedule. And in the afternoon, we do history and science and other fun activities with the kids. So this is pretty much what it looks like. Let me go back here to you. Um, so let me just talk a little bit about schedule versus routine.
Yes.
Because schedule is something that is done in school. They ring the bell and something needs to start, and it rings the bell and something needs to end. Well, that's not the case at home. At home, we actually follow a routine. We know what needs to get done, and we have an order that works better for our family, and we follow that routine. So, in reality, it doesn't matter if I start at 8 or at 9 or at 10, or sometimes if we have a doctor's appointment in the morning, we'll have to start at 1 in the afternoon. I can still follow that routine and know that things are going to work well. So basically, that's what we follow. We have a schedule to give us a little bit of margin, to give us a little bit of like we can know how many minutes we're going to need for a lesson, or if we need an hour or not. But what we really follow is the sequence of things that needs to get done in the day.
Very good. Okay. I'm going to be honest. I struggle with schedule. I do. I just really struggle with it. And so what would you say to moms like me who sort of struggle with coming up with the right schedule and sticking to it? What kind of advice would you give me?
Okay, so let me start from this. Your routine to work well for your family needs to be weaved naturally into your family rhythm. And I think a lot of parents miss the point right there, because they're trying to force something unnatural into their day, into their kids' routine, their natural routine, and it becomes the cut. And it becomes something that nobody wants to do. It just doesn't feel natural. That's, it's really hard. It's really hard. I'll tell you this. I am not a morning person. If I try to force myself into a routine where I have to be teaching at 7 in the morning, it's not going to happen. And I'm going to feel frustrated. My kids are going to be in a bad mood because they're not morning people the same way. And it's going to be really, really hard on us. So the first thing that you can do, and you should do, is think about, how can I weave this into our daily normal routine without being a conflict, without being something that is so unnatural to us and no one wants to do it. So for example, as a normal part of our life, like, we love reading books. And we love listening to audiobooks. And I know the moments of our day that is easy for me to bring in the reading, right?
Yeah.
I know that my kids are not morning little people either. So I know that if I tell them we're going to do math at 8:30, 9 o'clock. They're not. It's just not going to happen, because at that time they're still trying to open their eyes and get out of their beds and get, get their breakfast done and things like that. So we looked at and works naturally in our homes to fit in some of those things, like science after lunch in the afternoon. The kids think is like the most awesome thing to do, science experience. My son is loving now that he's doing a lot of the experience by himself. So he knows that after he has his language arts and his math done, he's looking forward to getting his science book and doing the experience together. It's just like natural that it follows like this. The other thing too is that it might not feel natural at all to do language arts and math.
It's true.
Every day, kind of a struggle, and you need to get them used little by little. You cannot especially if you're starting homeschool right now, I always recommend people to de-school if you're coming from the public school and start applying learning time little by little. Don't go full blown 5 days a week learning. Just do it maybe twice a week to begin with, then increase it 3 times a week, then 4 times a week, so they can get into a routine, right? It's a habit. A routine is a habit that you're implementing, and you're persevering and being consistent. Because I think that this is the greatest problem that we have. Not only that we're trying to do something that is natural to our family, but we lack consistency. If I ask 1,000 homeschool moms how many of them are really consistent with their homeschool plans, I'm probably going to have 10, 20 raising their hands. The majority have a hard time. And I'll tell you why. Because life happens. And it's not just because they don't want to be consistent. I mean, it's hard enough to just like, okay, this is what we're going to do now. But because life happens and they have to learn to be flexible. So when you starting to customize the best routine for your family, keep those things in mind, right? What is follow your family natural rhythm as much as possible, and do in increments until you guys create the habit and the consistency to follow it and becomes natural in your home. And the third thing is that allow flexibility. Otherwise, it's you're gonna feel like this doesn't work. So you need to be flexible.
Absolutely. That's excellent advice. I've heard other people say to like add in one subject a week too, like start with
You could.
and then add in something else, because it just helps.
It does. It does. I tell moms all the time. I just spoke in a conference now, and the title of my workshop was "How to Get Everything Done."
I love it. I need all that advice.
And I tell moms all the time, listen, you can do everything, you just cannot do everything at the same time. So you're gonna have to figure out how to do little by little, and then increment, and then keep the consistency, keep and build a habit. As I'm gonna just pull this, guys, but I am a firm believer of habits. But this is what I have on my wall here. Daily repetition creates habits. Habits create structure. Structure creates freedom. Freedom creates time for what matters the most. And this is my motto. So if you start applying those habits, be consistent, start incrementing little by little, and you see that daily repetition comes so natural to us nowadays. Oh my goodness. My kids know exactly the order or what we do, which kind of looks like this. I showed you guys my ideal week schedule, but this is what I keep laminated right in front of me on my desk. And if we are on the road, we have our Sonlight bag, right, that we carry with us. So, guys, it's seriously, we call it our toad schooling, but everything that we need from Sonlight is in this bag. And the moment that we're getting in the truck to travel from place to place, that bag gets out of the RV and it's right on my feet in the truck. And we have this inside the bag to tell us exactly what we need to get done. And even though it's the same thing almost every single day, still, we're very visual people. They look at the laminated schedule. They go like, oh yeah, I need to do my history now. Oh, I need to do my science right now, right? So it helps them. So again, if you're gonna create a routine, if you're going to create a schedule, have a visual. Have it printed out for everybody and have it like in a place where everyone can see, so everybody's it's coming along and following the same routine. Now I don't even need to tell my kids what they need to get done next, because they know, and they use this little cute checklist that I created for them years ago that now thousands of homeschool family uses, because they download. It's like our #1 download on the blog.
Oh
This is
yeah.
all you can personalize. So they write down what needs to get done for chores, what they can do individually, what we do together, right? And then any extras that they might be doing, like music, Hebrew, art, whatever they're doing. Monday, they get a printout, and they have this little pocket that I got at the dollar store, and they know exactly what needs to get done. So you are reaffirming your routine, your schedule, but you're teaching them to be independent. They're not asking you 1,000 times like, what's next, mom? What do I need to do now? Right? Because they know. So.
That's great. That's great advice. I'll drop the link to that below. So if you need it, you can access it quickly.
Yeah.
So with all the things going on in our world, I think, there are a lot of people who are maybe taking a little bit of slow time right now and adjusting to all the changes. It affects both homeschoolers and non-homeschoolers alike, right? Like you guys are socialized and out in the world and doing all kinds of stuff. It's not like we're sitting at home and not going to practices and parks and the store even. So how do you make sure you don't get behind on your schoolwork during these times when you kind of need to take a break and spend some time with the family and reassess, what's most important in life?
Yeah, well, first of all, Stephanie, I want to remind all parents here, either you're starting to homeschool now or you've been homeschooling for a while, that when you're home educating, there's no such a thing as being behind. You need to follow your kid's pace of learning, and you need to be flexible to the situations in your life. Like, I went through a very traumatic time just about a year ago where I had to be in bed for 6 months, and I call it my paper plate and audiobook season of life. But you need to be flexible and adjust to that situation, and that's where the beauty of teaching my kids to be independent learners came in very well. It was amazing. They carry on doing their basics, right? Stick to the essentials and stick to the basics, even if it's just language, arts, math every single day in an audiobook or read aloud. Have the kids taking turn to read the books, but don't feel like you need to do everything when those situations come, or right now that we're all in quarantine, that you need to get everything done if something is impeding you from doing so, right? I am pretty impressed that while traveling for 5 months through 29 states in the United States, my kids finished their curriculum before we came back to Canada. Now we are in March, almost end of March, and they finished curriculum last month. So even though we were traveling, even though we were in school in the truck many, many times, because they're used to the consistency of the routine, they got their things done. So I want to encourage you. Maybe you are in a season right now where you feel like, I can barely get my kids to 1 page.
Yeah.
It will get better if you do not give up. Just keep being consistent, and make learn fun. If there are certain things that they really enjoy doing, do more of it. I'm totally okay with that. I remember when we started Sonlight Deep, all my kids want to do was like read like Pedro's journal, and we just kept reading like all the books. And what was that? The one of the lion. Oh my goodness, forgot about the children, that were in England. They wanted to come to the States to see their father. And I can't remember the name of the book, but my kids.
I just had this book the other day.
Oh my, it's so good. It's so good.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So, you know what? And that's why I love Sonlight, because it all like these amazing books that you learn so much just reading them. And anyways, it was pretty cool because when we were back in Jamestown and Yorktown and Williamsburg this year, my kids were like, do you remember that story? And it was like so cool how they associate. So
awesome.
Yeah, so just, yeah, if they love reading stories, just keep reading the stories. They all gonna be fine, guys. They all gonna be happy.
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to pull up the book. I know I just had it, but I can't find it that quickly. So something else we were talking about before we pressed record was having
the global crisis.
The actual problem here, having your spouse at home all the time. How do
you I call it on the Facebook page the global crisis that no one is talking about. And so many of the moms were like, this is so right on. But it is for some of us who've been homeschooling, and we are so used to be home with our children every single day, and we follow the guidelines and follow the routine, like having the husband home, it could be really tricky because daddy doesn't know what's supposed to be done when. And yeah.
kind of have to unschool him too, like, hey, this is our schedule, get used to it.
Yes, yeah. So I think the best thing that you can do is have a family meeting. Sit down, first sit down with your spouse. Don't say it in front of the kids. Down here, I wanted to share our routine with you so you can help me and back me up and not get the kids distracted or anything. So when my husband came home 6 months ago, right? Because now we work together at home. But when he came home, it was like my kids were used to do everything with me. Now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, come sit here. Oh no, I want to do it with daddy. And now I'm wasting like 5-10 minutes because I'm telling the child, no, come on, let's do it. And they're like, no, I want to do it with daddy. But daddy wasn't available at that time. So no, I'll wait for daddy. And I'm like, that really threw me off. But, sit down with your spouse, talk about it and share the routine, and then have a family meeting and say, hey guys, dad is going to be home these days. If daddy needs to be working in a specific area of the house, just kind of, hey guys, dad is going to be working. So we need to make sure that we're not interrupting daddy. Or if daddy is not working at home, but he's going to be home, then, hey guys, daddy's going to be helping us with our homeschool, and which is going to be super cool because we can get this done faster. And then guys can go outside for fresh air, or whatever it is, or you guys can, play puzzles, or you can play video games or whatever. We don't play video games here, but I'm just throwing out there because I know there's a lot of kids who do. But just try to make it work. Teamwork, right?
Teamwork.
And keep the husbands busy. Give them something to do.
Keep them busy, for sure. That actually lends really good into the next question: is how do you suggest managing school time, free time, screen time? How do you do that, and what advice do you have?
Okay, remember that little checklist I showed you? It's really little. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to read, but okay, it says here, after they finish what they're supposed to do, it says, you are free to play for the rest of the day once you're done with your homeschool work and chores. I'm proud of you and I love you so much, Mom. So they know responsibility comes before entertainment, right? And when they were very little, we learned this poem by Christina Rossetti, and every time that it needs to be reminded, we all end up saying it together. It's work while you work, play while you play. So be happy each day. All that you do with your mind. Things done by half are never done right. And so I taught this poem to them when they were maybe 3, 4, 5, and it always a good reminder when it's to work, we work diligently. When it's time to play, then just go ahead and go do whatever you want. So if that free time, it could include the screen time. I do monitor a lot what my kids watch. Really, I monitor a lot, you guys. I'm a bit of a freak because I believe the eyes are the window to the soul, and I believe that everything that they see and everything they watch needs to be good for them. It needs to build them up, and it needs to be in agreement with our values and our faith. Um, so we kind of like, we love watching things like Torchlighters and Friends and Heroes, and so my kids have they have access to Mino, which used to be called Jelly Telly, or Right Now Media, or Pure Flakes. So I know it's good, clean, entertaining for them. That's basically how it is here. So that way they're just not sitting, or they're going on YouTube and surfing God knows what. But yeah. And there's a few learning apps that they have access to that they can play, that we know that is safe enough for them to play with. But yeah, that's basically how it is. That we're just teaching them to, one, we want them to master an activity. So there's no such a thing as because I don't have a screen in front of me, I'm bored. So we want them to be resourceful. We want them to be creative, right? Yeah. That's what we want them to do. I much rather see them playing board games than seeing them sitting in front of a video game. That's the reality, because playing board games, they're building so many skills and teamwork, and they're connecting with each other, right, as siblings. So that's how I do it. That's how I do it.
I love it. I love it. That's all great advice. So you live in an RV. So this question is going to be really hard, but how do you get private time as a parent for sanity and to get some work done? How do you do that?
Okay. If you don't schedule, you won't get it done. The secret here, when I showed you guys, maybe I should show you one more time. I'm going to share this with you guys. Okay. My ideal week's schedule. Let me show this to you guys. Here's my secret. I book absolutely nothing after dinner time. Even though it's my family time, I still have time enough that I have wiggle room. That's how it is. And if you see, even like myself, care time, my work time, every block it's set, right? It's scheduled for it. So I know the amount of time that I have to work. I have the amount of time that I have to be focusing fully on homeschooling, and I know what time I need to start getting dinner done and whatever chores I need to get done. But I know that I have hours in the day to catch up with anything that I need to, if I have to, if I absolutely have to. Otherwise, no, that's sacred time for my family and I. That's sacred time for me to rest. I have an autoimmune disease, so life can get pretty hectic sometimes for me. I have just in our online courses, we have over 5,000 students, which is crazy. We have homeschool membership program that has 230 families from all over the world, and we have a lot of activities actually on that happens twice a week for those families, including 3 book clubs.
Wow.
And family workshops where we teach them all kinds of things, from Spanish to all kinds of things, all fun things. But if I have to guard my time very wisely, that's
very true.
That's how I need to do. I need to guard it very wisely and allow myself plenty of white space on my calendar, that if I need an overflow area to go to, it's there for me. It's there for me. And moms, let me tell you, the biggest thing I have ever learned in my life is that not every opportunity is your assignment. So learn to say yes to what God has called you to say yes to. Don't don't take on commitment that you were never called to. Just be very wise. Learn how to say no. It's actually a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's great advice. I need to say no more. I know this about myself. Um, so how do you know if you're doing enough?
Okay, you know you're doing enough by the fruits.
Yeah.
And just like when you plant a garden, you're going to see things right away. It's going to take some time. But after you've been planting a garden every single year, you know the fruits are going to be there every single time. It's just going to take a little bit of time to see it, right? So whatever you do, the Bible says that no work in the Lord is in vain. I believe that with all my heart, and it's a natural law of life. You know, if you sow, you will harvest. You will. The seeds will grow. So whatever you're doing, it's producing fruits. Either you see it now, or see it a year from now, or you see it 5 years from now. It's producing fruit. So I believe that doing less is actually doing more. I love that Sonlight taught me that since the beginning. Keep your lessons short. And yes, guys, this is amazing. You have this to help you with everything that you need to get done. And no matter where you go, what you do, it's right there. And sometimes got 1 week done in 2 weeks, 3 weeks because of the circumstances of our lives. And sometimes we got 2 weeks done in 1 week. You will learn to navigate and know when it's enough. You're going to learn how to have more confidence in yourself as you go. Your kids will always learn. Nothing's going to be wasted.
That's excellent advice.
Yeah. And
Thank
every
you.
time I tested my kids, right? Every time we tested them, they were always above the average of the public school, always. So I don't have to worry anymore. And you can talk to any homeschool moms; they're going to tell you the same thing.
It's true. It's true. So the last question I have is really for those people who are finding themselves home or schooling at home now. And the school has given them schedules, they've gotten them online. They're trying to adjust that schedule. How, and you talked about the rhythm, and I just want to make sure that we have really given them all the advice we can. How can we enhance or round out that schedule to really fit the family? So they
Okay.
might be very high level and then diving in.
Yeah. Like I said, keep it simple. Keep it simple
Yeah.
and increment little by little. If this is a completely new situation to you, I mean, okay, let's just imagine you go to the pool, right? You have no idea how cold or hot the water is. You dip your toes first. And then you're probably gonna sit by the pool and you're gonna put, like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna put your legs there for a little while and get used to it. And at least for me, it takes a while to jump in. And
Test the waters.
it's
Yeah.
the same thing with homeschooling.
Yeah.
Just, friends, dip your toes for a little bit, see how it goes, get used to the temperature of the water. Um, just be wise. Duranda Wilson is a friend of mine, and she taught me this in her book. She said, we must be students of our children. And this time that you're home with your children, study them, observe them, know what they like, what they don't, how they respond to things, how they process things, what piques their curiosity, and use those things to in your advantage, right? If there's topics of interest that they really love, just go and explore those topics first of all before you bring the whole thing in front of them. Let them get curious about learning. Remember that you are a facilitator of learning. That they will, because they've been taught in the public school by teachers, they will look at you and like, you're not my teacher. So
Yeah.
no, but you're their moms. And maybe you feel like, They don't see that, that learning authority in you. So that's when you need to become a facilitator of learning. You come and learn alongside them. Say, guys, I don't know this, but I'm learning with you, you know, just like anything else in life. Take the pressure off your shoulder right now. You don't need to know everything to teach them. You just need to be one step ahead. And sometimes one step ahead is just have your instructor manual in front of you. And that's enough.
Yeah.
And that's enough because they don't even know how much you know unless you tell them, right? But learn together. Just come alongside them and learn together. Make it fun, make it interesting. Don't put pressure on them, and otherwise it's going to turn them off. But at the same time, don't drop the ball either. Keep little by little, just dipping your toes, being consistent, and eventually they're all going to come on board and have fun because that's what happened. My kids cannot imagine ever not being home with us learning. So,
well, that is just all of your advice has been so valuable. I know that homeschooling parents and those now schooling at home, everyone will find that valuable. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I will drop links down below. Look for everything we've sort of referenced. And thanks for being here.
thank you so much, Stephanie. I love you guys. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Bye.